started with an activity, and what I want you to do is think of any image or symbol that comes to mind. Vocabulary instruction. What image or symbol would you associate with vocabulary? So there's paper and pens right there. So pick up a paper and pen and think of any image, symbol, drawing that you would think of when you hear the word vocabulary or vocabulary instructions. And then we're going to share about why you chose the image that you chose. Okay. Do you understand? Okay.
Imagery more like a pyramid, so a higher level.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. And so one of the main reasons that I wanted to do this beginning activity is because associating images and pictures is a really important and effective strategy when it comes to vocabulary instruction. So like, for example, these are two different subjects, but for science, some teachers have used crafting and actually creating an image out of different materials to represent the vocabulary words, or just having a word wall that not only has the word and definition, but a picture that is associated with those words is really important. And just another component of effective vocabulary instruction, which is obviously our topic for today. So the main reasons we're here is because of teacher feedback and PARCC results for our district. Many teachers in the district feel that there is a strong emphasis on indirect vocabulary instruction, where there's a wide variety of reading. Independent reading is highly emphasized, and that is great. However, there does need to be a balanced approach. And many teachers in the district feel that there is a lack of direct vocabulary instruction. So that's where this workshop is coming into play. Also, the PARCC results show that there was more students were not meeting, a majority of students were not meeting expectations in terms of reading informational texts, and some teachers are credited that to a lack of vocabulary knowledge. So our goals for today are to discuss the importance of direct vocabulary instruction, see the strategies that you can use in your classroom in action, and then you're going to actually get to use them. So ultimately, research says that if students have good vocabulary and have exposure to vocabulary, they will become better readers, and that makes total sense because if they are able to understand the words that they're reading, they can comprehend better, they're going to love reading more and become stronger readers. And the National Reading Panel that met in 2000 strongly agrees that the vocabulary instruction should be taught both directly and indirectly. Again, indirectly meaning wide range of reading, reading a lot during class time, but then also directly with explicit instruction, but instruction that is also engaging. And another quote here is that vocabulary growth is a key to access literacy, especially for students from low-income backgrounds, English language learners. They need direct instruction in vocabulary. A couple other quotes to further emphasize why this is important and why we're here. Students are able to connect ideas and concepts when they have a stronger vocabulary base. Also for young students, wide reading and just reading a lot isn't always effective. They need to have exposure to direct vocabulary instruction. And vocabulary instruction should be done with active involvement. And that's kind of where we're going to head into next. So let me go back real quick to that pyramid that we were showing before. So essentially, in vocabulary instruction, there are 3 tiers. The first tier is high-frequency basic vocabulary words that are familiar to a lot of students. So for 3rd grade, things like table, board, computer, even iPad, Chromebook, things like that are very common words that students use all the time. Tier 2 words are the academic vocabulary words that are found across content areas. Those are words that are more abstract, like maybe courage or confused. And tier 2 words are the words that should be the focus of the direct instruction. Tier 3 words are content area words, so words that are found in math, science, and studies. So maybe for 3rd grade, words like product, potion, obtuse, those are tier 3 words. Okay, so we're going to see this actually in action. Direct explicit vocabulary instruction should follow these steps. You want to select targeting tier 2 words that students are going to be seeing in their reading or in their grade level throughout the year. And you want to use in the instruction activities that help the students to be physically involved in the instruction, use objects, images, symbols, and then also give students the opportunity to discuss the words. So ultimately, using these modes of instruction, it gives students a lot of exposure. So multiple means of exposure is super important as well. So we're going to watch a video where a teacher is doing just that. She's going to allow the students to discuss and work together to notice connections between words. Okay, so this is one form of engaging direct vocabulary instruction. So, and this strategy for direct vocabulary instruction is called list, group, label.
And it's really 3 steps. Choose from a list of related words, group those words into subcategories, and then label the groupings with descriptive titles.
Which is a second grade
Strategy is an excellent way to help kids develop vocabulary skills, build abstract knowledge, activate critical thinking skills, and grow vocabulary. Watch as Happy Hill uses this strategy with her second grade class. Okay, so we're going to use a new strategy called list, group, label. You kind of practice words together and see how words connect with each other. In order to use this strategy effectively, it's necessary to first select a concept to explore. It can be from something that has been read or from a unit of study. We got a story called Full of Garden Words.
I think what's important is that the students are really discussing with each other the meanings of the words, and they're able to connect the meanings of the different words. And that active involvement and those kinds of discussions are so crucial. And that's one of the forms of direct instruction that is very effective. So going back to our slides. So this would be on a list of instructional practices. So list group labels listed here, but there are many others that go under physical movement, symbolic strategies that involve images, strategies that involve discussions. Those are all very important. So I'm going to kind of model for you a couple of these, and then you'll have to try some yourself. One really effective and fun strategy that students love is the headband. And it's awesome because there is a game that goes along with it. So for example, you would use picture cards that have the vocab word above the image, but not the definition. And students just hold it above their heads. You don't even need like a fancy band or anything. And then the other student is responsible for giving clues to the student with the picture on their head in order to help them determine what the vocabulary word is that they're holding. So that's a really awesome one. The Frayer model is another one that we're going to get to try, and that is a graphic organizer that looks like this, and it includes 4 sections: a definition that the students can come up with together their own definition, examples of the vocabulary word, non-examples, and then characteristics of that vocabulary word. And this kind of goes along with working together and being able to build on each other's prior knowledge, and that's another really important part of working together for vocabulary instruction. So another thing we're going to get to do is use a knowledge rating checklist where students are able to rate their understanding of certain vocabulary words and then discuss what prior knowledge they have of those words, and then through each other's prior knowledge they can build and have a stronger understanding of the words. List group label is the one we just watched. Teaching word parts. That's really using the affixes and the root words of words and helping students to understand and meaning of words from them. So for example, quadrilateral, and teaching that quad means four, lateral meaning side, so four-sided figure. So using word parts. Movement associations, this is one that I love and use a lot to get students moving and involved in their learning. So it can be something as simple as a hand gesture. For commutative property, which a lot of third graders do have to learn, is when factors can change their order, but the product stays the same. So something like having your hands and switching them like this, whenever students use the word commutative property, it's kind of physically showing them that you can change the order of the factors, which is the meaning of that vocab word. And then semantic mapping is another fun activity where students can again discuss the meaning of words and how the word connects to other concepts. So essentially it's another graphic organizer, but it's more like a map that they can create on their own, where you start with the vocab word in the middle and then branch off to related words that help the student understand the meaning of that word. So let's try a couple. So I'm going to let you guys do headbands first. You can, and I kind of try my students to like, don't look, just like do it secretly. You can go ahead and pick one. Put it on your head. So this is actually a third grade vocabulary. It's describing the kind of that shape. Here, let's take it down. You know what strategies or how you would describe that vocabulary without using the word itself? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And this is great because you're kind of experiencing what the students are going to experience when they do these strategies. Yeah, the kids love it. They love to like, really help each other out and try to, and it's great because you get their understanding of these vocab words and the attributes that go with the vocab words. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is jumping down to activate prior knowledge, and we're going to use that knowledge rating checklist. And I used more adult vocabulary words for this, but essentially you're going to go through and read the vocab words on this list. And again, this is something that's independently at first. And then you're going to check off if you've never seen the word before, if you heard it but don't know what it means, if you think you know what it means, and then if you definitely know what it means. You're going to put an X in one of the boxes for each of the vocab words. Then you're going to discuss why you chose what you chose for each word, and if you chose like, I think I know what it means, why, like what kind of background knowledge do you have about that word that made you check that off. So independently, you can go ahead and start by checking that off. Independently, so read the words. And yeah, they're a little trickier that they're not third grade words. But all right, now that you've done that, you can turn it off and discuss why you chose what you chose. Yeah, so essentially the students get to build off each other's background knowledge, which is really helpful. Again, two brains are better than one, but just being able to discuss what and have them think about their thinking and think about what they know about the words, where they heard them, maybe it was they saw it on the side, outside on the road or wherever. Have having them really think deeply about their thinking in that way is super helpful and effective. So now let's try the Fourier model. And again, this is another graphic organizer that students use. Visually representing the word is really helpful. So this is something they could do together or independently. But I kind of like the idea of them working together to build a definition that's not from the teacher, not from the dictionary, but it's helpful in that way. So if we were to think of the word agent, what might be a definition, like with your own words, that you might use? What we'll do, that you can do, is semantic mapping. And this is a fun one because, again, it allows them to visually represent the different connections between words. And there are some really cool online versions of this. So I found one, it's called Bubble.us. And so, for example, I choose the word huddle. So when I think of the word huddle, I think of joining together. And if you have Chromebooks in your classroom, students can do this on their Chromebook. They basically just like build this map that connects the meaning of the words. Like take a football, and then you can draw arrows that connect these bubbles to the different words. That. And then if you wanted to make subgroups, subcategories, you can do that. But also, obviously, you can do it on paper, or draw lines extending from that core vocab word. So if you want to go ahead and try this, again, just having you feel what it would be like state with concept and skyscraper. What are some concepts or ideas? Again, helping to build students' understanding of the meaning of those words. Yeah, again, those are all describing the meaning of that word. Yeah, great. Again, connecting concepts and ideas. Now that we've had a chance to experience these different strategies and feel what it would be like for the students to partake in them, again, these all combined, including all the different modes of learning, help to give students multiple exposures to the words, because students should be exposed to a new word at least 12 to 20 times in different ways. Again, through physical motion, images, hearing the word, using the word in a graphic organizer, things like that. So now, I want to give you a chance to try this for yourself as a teacher and to plan your direct vocabulary instruction. So I'm going to give you a couple of books that you might look through. When you get the book, I want you to try to find at least 2 words that you would target as a 3rd grade teacher, maybe tier 2 words. And then choose 3 activities. I'm going to put that list back up that you would use to help students learn the meaning of those words that you chose. And then we're just going to talk about why you chose those words and why you chose those activities. All right? So here's the book. I have a paper if you guys write down the word. 2 words, and then 3 might be so unknown to certain students. So I think having that off. So exactly what this is, how people can understand this word is super important. That's kind of like what you would do in your own classrooms when you're using books, read alouds that you would use for different instructional strategies. Like you might use a lot for a writing mini lesson and a reading mini lesson, but then you can also use it for your direct vocab instruction by using these effective and engaging strategies. So they'll have a much stronger vocabulary knowledge, and from that become better readers, which is ultimately our goal. So thanks for attending. There's going to be a short survey on a Google form that's going to be emailed to you, asking what you thought were the biggest takeaways from this presentation, what support you might foresee needing in your classroom in order to implement these strategies. We don't want to just leave you hanging after today. So going forward, what other things might you need support-wise to implement these ideas, and any questions or concerns you still have in regards to vocabulary